All right, here we go. Let me see how well this is. This is a new software, guys. Bear with me. This is new software. I've listened to the previous episodes and I'm like, well, me, that should have been edited properly. But back again. Sorry for shouting. So we're gonna talk about marriages. And I said before in the last week or last 2 weeks that I want to make marriages a like not a franchise though, but like a series. I should label this like marriages part two or marriages. I don't know. I'll do it in the future because these things keep on changing by the day. So, for example, um, marriages, man, people that's a business, isn't it? I think the last time we talked about marriages, we're talking about the fact that it is a business. It's a business, and I'm going to just give you guys what I feel. I have my script in front of me. I have my bullet points. But no, I'm here recording. I just want to express how I feel. And so this is the non-scripted part about it. Guys, I was raised in a family. I was raised in a marriage. I was raised with two older sisters. My parents were married before any of my sisters were born. My parents are still married now. So my sisters have the same last name as I do, and so on. So when you grow up with that environment, which I'm grateful for, when you grow up in that environment, it's very difficult to accept culture change or social evolution, where it's the fact that marriage is going to be a like lost art, and that's something I covered in the last time I spoke about marriages, and it is really sad because being the age I am now, I feel like it, it's so rooted into me that marriages is a must have, or I feel like marriages is a must do, and I feel like I have to change that. And I don't like that I'm having those thoughts that I have to change it. So, I'm just saying to myself, like, if I don't find someone who values marriages the way I do, I mean, to value it is one thing, but to value it the way I do is another thing. Do I change because majority of the culture has changed? Or do I keep the same, knowing that I, the person who I want is one in a million? And that's not an easy question to answer. I mean, in conversation, it's easy to say, oh, whatever, whatever. But when you actually do it, bro, and you actually go through life like waiting on the one in a million girl, it gets the person. And it gets the person on two ends. It gets the person when you're not getting much options. And then, when you get options, it's like, yeah, but I have to compromise my values for you. Not standards, values. They're two different things. So if you're someone who doesn't get a lot of options, do you still wait it out, even though the one girl you get or the one opportunity you get from 3 months is not right? Do you pass it up, or are you someone who gets dates on a regular, and every girl you meet is just not having the same values as you? Either way, it's difficult. Either way is difficult. Of course, if you have a lot of dates, you can actually convince them, say, hey, that. But even so, if you have to do that, I don't think it's like worth it, because I don't want someone to do something because just because I asked them. Worse, marriage. Like I don't want a girl to marry me just because I asked her to marry me. I want a girl to want to marry me whether I ask her or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, or basically, I want a girl to marry me because that's her intent from the get go. Like, that's her end goal. Whether it's with me or somebody else, her when she's dating to intent to marry. That's the woman I want. So then it's up to me to show her that I am worth husband material, whatever the cringe word is. But yeah, that's just me. And honestly thinking right now, I feel like I'm just giving up. Like every day, I just feel like every day I go to work, it just feel like I'm giving up because man, I see so much shit. Like I experience shit. I experience it because I've had women in relationships, women in marriages come to me and XYZ. And I've seen so many brutal things online, and I think that the feminists, I think people are trying to find men's breaking point, and instead of admiring men's resilience and men's strength, they make a mockery of it. Okay, so if we oppress men online, do they crack? Oh, they're not cracking. That means we can up the foolishness. Let's say bears are better than men. They're still not cracking. They're still not falling. Let's up it some more. Let's kill our men. They're not cracking. Let's get on board, females. Let's try to tear this. Like for people who are calm, naturally calm, that is, when you realize your strength in being calm, the first thing people want to try to do is to see where's the breaking point. For some reason, it's trying to, like, the moment the people realize you're not calm, okay, that's the breaking point. Okay, that's it. Not interested in fighting. It's so easy. But when you're calm, is that they're trying to find your breaking point, and it's that's men. Like, what can we do to make men fall and tick? Because I feel like men handle oppression way better than female sides. Oppression makes women bitter and makes women crack or bitter. Oppression makes men better. And I've said this to females before. I'm like, listen, when you guys oppress us, it only does one of two things. It separates the strong men from the weak men, and also more pressure just makes the strong men stronger, and it makes the weak men weaker. And again, the more you oppress us, day by day, one of the categorized weak men becomes strong men. And that's the last thing you want to do, females. If you want to tear men down, you don't make the strong men stronger. You don't go on the view and say men are useless. You don't go on the whatever podcast and say you feel safe with a beer. You don't do that. Like, sometimes you actually make, like, it doesn't work the way it does for you. If we went online and said women are useless, some of you guys will start getting offended and start getting your feelings because your breaking point is close to zero. It's so easy. But when you try to men breaking point, we cannot break. We cannot go online complain that we can't find it. We men can't complain about things that you complain about. Because if we comment that we bleed, we're putting ourselves in worse situations to get engaged or get married or anything like that, or to be respected. So we have to hide that shit. And to hide that shit, it seems like strength. Sometimes it's not really strength. That's why men's mental issues go under the rug. That's why Father's Days go under the rug. Any appreciation for men goes under the rug, and any appreciation for women is skyrockets. Like, what you find nowadays is women is constantly patting their back, saying how awesome being a woman is. Yeah, I would agree if I have not met certain women who shouldn't be celebrated like that until they change their ways. Like when Oprah, Bill Burr did that episode on this, a stand-up comedy on this, like when he says, "Oh, she's this, she's that, and the most difficult job of all, she's a mother." There's a lot of people on the streets that makes it look easy, or just don't give a shit. Being a mother is not the hardest job in the world. It is difficultly hard when it's done properly. When it's done properly, you look like heroes. But so is fatherhood. Why are we separating being a mother and being a father? Like, being a bad mother is just as bad as being a bad father. Like, being a good mother is just as rewarded as being a good father. But I know. And I, one thing I love about this whole male oppression type of shit is just that um the strong get stronger. The strong get stronger. So men are becoming more self sufficient. Men are becoming way more self sufficient, and that's a problem. That's a problem. That is a huge problem when the men are getting stronger. So, for example, the more requirements we have, the more self-sustaining we become. And the reality of it is, I think I talked about this in the last episode. I'm gonna throw my script today. I had this script on marriages and throw it away. I just want to talk about things I never got to talk about in a long time. So the thing about what like being self-sufficient means that when if the woman cannot find it, they crack and ask, "What is wrong with you? What is wrong with me?" When a man can't find a date, he gets better. He gets better. When a woman can't find a date, she gets worse. She gets worse. She gets worse. Like I really doubt women take care of themselves for one single man or for marriages. I think a lot of women who take care of themselves is to broaden their options. Looking for one guy is a total different circumstances than looking for attention from all the men. So if you want to come here and tell me that, oh, I'm better myself for my husband, I'm better myself for the love of my life, bullshit, bullshit. Because you know, you know, you know, like yeah, you know. So I don't know. I'm not buying it to be honest with you. Fuck that. I ain't buying it. To be honest with you, in my opinion, the women who are genuinely bettering themselves for the one man they wish to share the life with, you will never see them online. You will never see them on the socials. You will never see them. They are quite amazing angels. I think, let me tell you what I've noticed. I think most men have actually lowered their standards because there's just so many less quality women out there because women think they're tens by just wake up in the morning and think they're tens and not actually putting in the work. And then women are raising the standards because so many guys are good. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. There are so many articles about women saying that where has all the good men gone? Where are all the good men? I'm not dating down. I'm not dating down. And then men, we're not asking where the good women are. We're literally getting what we like. A lot of men are literally like, if this is what I can get, this is what I can get. So men are literally lowering their standards, and women are raising their standards. And there's enough evidence to support this. Men are lowering their standards because they understand that the options are getting more limited because women are raising their standards on a false premise or false basis. So men are lowering their standards, and like literally they just fuck anything and do anything. Women, their standards is depending. It's like the standard is as high as the highest caliber of man who's attracted to them. So if today you're okay with guy A who makes 50 grand, makes $50,000 a year, and you're okay, this is the standard. I'm comfortable with this because right now this is the highest I can get, and then you're actually dating and you're actually happy doing a relationship. Just because a guy who makes $100,000 a year becomes available the next year, all of a sudden the $50,000 standard raised $100,000 standard. And have you worked on your life? No. Have you put the work in to make yourself a better person for your partner? No. It's just information, and like information that makes you change yourself. Information cannot make you change yourself. For example, I am who I am now, and I am on a journey to better myself, better my skills, better my businesses, better my podcast, all this good stuff, right? Better my communication skills, how to retain a woman, how to keep a woman, how to keep her engaged, like all those good stuff. Like learning storytelling skills, communication skills, all those good stuff for one woman, right? Doing that allow me to give me the right to raise my standards over time because I'm improving. Now, in the process right now, if you're going to tell me that my highest caliber woman I can get is Miss Brown from HR, and Miss Brown is like a 5 out of 5, and then 5 hours later, Miss Clark, who is is an 8 out of 10, is available. I'm not saying to myself, okay, no, an 8 out of 10 is into me, a 5 out of 10 is no longer good enough for me. We don't think that. A 8 out of 10 is still good. That's cool for me because I'm working with what I got. The standard and the process remain the same. It doesn't change. Information cannot change. The ability to prove your value is more important than the value people bestow on you. I'll repeat that. The value, like proven value that you can prove, is more reputable than value that people supposedly put on you. So men, I think men understand a lot, but women think their value is dependent on what value men give them. Not understand that men lie. So when we lie and gives you false value, yep, that's my actual value, and the gap will hurt you females. The value gap will hurt your feelings. Will hurt you in the future. Meaning that the value you are now and the value you think you are, the gap is getting wider and wider and wider. The more you go on social media, the more you expose yourself to reality. So the value of who you are goes down, your actual value goes down, and your perceived value goes up because more men into you, the higher standards grow. So that gap will actually start to come alive in your late 30s, mid 30s, early 40s, and so on. And I'm just like, okay, cool. Let's do what you guys do what you want to do. I'm just letting you know the cause and effect, right? So that's why when women date up, that's why they date up because they just know that guys are into them now. Are the value of men going down? No, I would say it's the opposite. I would say it's the opposite. Like there are more men in gyms, there are more men in banks, there's more men starting businesses, there's more men than women starting businesses, going to the gyms, taking care of themselves. Like the self improvement industry was once dominated by women. Now it's actually dominated by men. So yeah, I think self improvement is a journey that is a personal journey that everybody goes on for themselves. Like you can't my template for self improvement cannot be the same template as yours. So for example, if what I'm doing to improve myself can be something completely different from for what you need to do to improve yourself. If you can look at yourself and say, "This is what I need to do it." If no one is doing it, that's fine. What you do what you think is best, and that's how you improve yourself. But yeah, and men are getting better, hence the standard for men is going higher, and women are getting worse, hence the standard for women is getting worse. Like, which man has a ick list? Which man has like a red flag list? The only thing man want in a woman is just look good. Just look good. Just look good. Just look good. Just look like most men don't even care anymore at this point in time. Anyways, that's just me ranting and how the effects is crazy, man. Crazy.